Everybody always says I should just love myself, but how do I learn to have self-compassion? We're going to talk about that today. Today, we are discussing how do I learn to have self-compassion? And it is I think it's more of a simple process than you think. My name is Ife. I make these videos on Are You Happy TV because I'm on a journey humanizing mental health. I want to talk with you about what it means to be well. You don't ever have to be a licensed clinician or have ever gone into a clinician's office to join in on the discussion. I am on a journey simplifying and humanizing the mental health experience. So if you'd like to be a part of our conversation, click the subscribe button. If you enjoy these videos and you find them helpful to you, click the subscribe button because you'll never miss an upload. And all I want to do is share all the wisdom and lived experience that I've lived through so that you can be helped through it too. All right, so let's just jump right into it. Very often in our society especially, we hear this obsession with love yourself, I just have to love myself. And right now, I'm just going to choose myself and love myself. And I think that can be an oversimplification sometimes. I think especially for people who know what it's like to go through serious mental illness. I know what it's like. And I also understand that in order to heal, I can't just take on this concept. I can't just be like, all right, I'm just going to love myself. Ooh, love myself. I don't know what that means. So many people have no idea where to even get started. And for me, I'm of the mindset that mental health is more about skill than it is about changing our feelings. It's more about developing a muscle, working a muscle to become strong than it is about changing our mind and changing our feelings. So what I'd say is first and foremost, when it comes to self-love, how do you get through to somebody who's dealing with depression, dealing with suicidal thoughts, tendencies, where they might feel like, ooh, I don't know what that even means. Everybody keeps telling me to love myself, but I just don't. I'm here to help you because we can look at the definition of love and see if there is an area there we can start to choose to apply those concepts to our lives as it relates to developing a sense of self-compassion. So first and foremost, come on, we have to define love, okay? I know of an amazing definition of love. I think it's the best definition of love. But it comes from the Bible. And it's in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And it says, love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. Great. So a little tidbit about me. My name actually means love. And that makes it challenging sometimes to hold a grudge. But I would say that we ought to be reminded of this definition of love every single day as we journey to try and approach learning the skill of self-compassion. Now, let's go through line by line, characteristic by characteristic of love. Do you think that this is a good definition? Because you see why I say it's the best definition? It's the best. It actually tells us that love is not a feeling. It is actually a concept. C.S. Lewis says that love is not mere feeling or emotion, but it's the desire to see someone's ultimate good through to its completion. And I think that makes it more of a tangible concept. While I might be feeling lost with the idea that I'm just supposed to love myself, but I don't. There you go. End of story. I can't really do much about it. This is telling us that love is a concept that has action and real tangible markers that characterize it as love. Beyond a feeling, it is a characterized, tangible concept. Let's go first line by line. First line says, love is patient. Now, we're talking about self-compassion. Ask yourself, when was the last time you were patient with yourself? When was the last time you were having a hard time figuring something out or a hard time getting something together and you said, why can't you just get it together? Why can't you just do it right now? Why can't you just do it like XYZ person? Why can't you just know what you're supposed to do and just do it right now? Do you see how sometimes we can be quite impatient towards ourselves? Sometimes we can be quite ungracious towards ourselves. Now, this is about how we can act towards others, but let's use this definition and let's use it on ourselves to help ourselves develop the skill of being compassionate towards ourselves. Love is kind. Have you remembered a time recently where you were tempted to think of yourself in very unkind ways? Well, the Bible says that love actually is kind. Can we be kind towards ourselves? Have we developed the skill and the practice of showing kindness towards ourselves? The last time you've ever made a mistake, how did you respond towards yourself? Were you very rude and malignant? Did you cuss in your head? Did you call yourself names? Say you're stupid? That's not kind. Kindness says, it's okay. Kindness says, don't worry about it. Kindness says, we'll try again next time. That is a kind response. Let's think about how we can use kindness to get in the practice of showing ourselves love. Next, it says, it does not envy. It does not envy. Have you ever compared yourself with somebody else? Have you looked at someone else's life and thought, they have the partner that I want, they have the job that I want, they have the skill that I want, the talent that I want? Well, the Bible says love does not envy. So why not? Let's practice thinking about how often do I compare myself with other people? Why not allow myself the grace to say, I'm not going to compare myself. I'm going to accept myself the way I am and who I am, with the talent that I have, with the everything that I have, and accept that that's the way God made me and see myself as good enough without comparison. What would happen to our mental health if we did that? That's a really good question, right? Next question. It does not boast. It is not proud. I wonder, what does that look like as it relates to mental health? Have you ever been in a position where someone said something nice about you and you said, no, you're wrong? Have you ever been in a position where someone was trying to boost you, trying to give you a compliment, and you said, you threw it in the trash? You threw it in the mental receptacle of your mind. You threw it in the trash because you said, they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know how stupid I am, how ugly I am, how unworthy I am to receive compliments and praise. I argue that that's a way that we boast. That's a way that we're proud, because we don't allow other people to speak positively into our lives sometimes. Do you struggle with that? I think that when you deal with depression, sometimes even anxiety, and often many, many other mental illnesses, we tend to think we know, other people don't. And we tend to have a hard time with letting other people speak into our lives. So ask yourself, when have you been boastful? When have you been proud? When have you been pushing off of someone else's positivity towards you because you thought they didn't know what they were talking about? Let's just be aware of that. Awareness is the first step towards change. Let's see what else it says. It says, it does not dishonor others. When have you dishonored yourself? How often do we put ourselves down? Every time we talk about ourselves, even if it's just to ourselves, that we're lowly and that we are ignorant or we have not, we're actually dishonoring ourselves. Now let's go through. It's not self-seeking. So that means it is not something where we just allow the thoughts that we have to contain itself and live in a vacuum. Self-seeking means selfish. That means not being willing to express outwardly the gifts that you have. Selfishness means that all these things that we have within ourselves stays here. Now, what we do want to try to do with our mental health is we want to allow outward voices to positively impact us. We want people on the outside in the community, people we're learning to trust. If you want to see that video, it's right here. People we're learning to trust, we're allowing them in our lives. We're allowing their voices to be in our lives. And we're allowing that love and gentleness and guidance to come in, to not hold negativity, but to let it freely leave and let love come in from other people. It also says it's not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. So, how often have you been easily angered at yourself? How often have you thought of, I did this wrong and I did that wrong and I did that wrong and I did that wrong? How often have you gotten into the cycle of thinking of all the past regrets and pains and things that you've done that you wish you didn't? See, this is what we're talking about here. When you have a definition of love written out so plainly, it can become way easier to get the concept into, okay, if I want to learn to love myself, how do I do that? Let's have a definition. Let's have something tangible that's beyond how we feel. This doesn't depend on how I feel about myself. All this is a list of actions, a list of verbs that can help me to say, okay, this is what I need to grab a hold of. And let's grab a hold of it. Let's start increasing our awareness. Let's start thinking about it. And let's start allowing us the space to move so that we can start flexing the muscle and developing the strength to practice daily self-compassion. Let's keep going. We're almost there. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. You know, believing that you're worthless, you're agreeing with evil. That is just plain evil. Okay? When I think of myself as less than what I am, I'm telling our God, our Father in heaven, that he made a mistake or that some beautiful masterpiece that he created is worth nothing. It's a piece of trash to me. That's evil. That's utterly evil. And the only one who actually feels that way about us is the devil. The devil hates us. I get it. We're created in God's image. He wanted to be the one that we praise. He wanted to be the one who was in charge. And that wasn't going to fly with God. So he hates us. He hates us because we're higher than him in God's eyes. But what we have to recognize that the Bible says that we are God's masterpiece, created to do the good works that he designed for us to do long before the world was even created. So can we look at ourselves and rejoice in that truth that we were created as a masterpiece? Because it's true. We were created as God's masterpiece, and He loves us as His masterpiece, and He wants us to thrive in that knowing that we are His masterpiece. All right. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. When was the last time you protected your heart from negativity? When was the last time you protected your mind from evil thoughts saying that you're worthless, that you're nothing? Because I'm telling you that you are worth something. You're worth far more than what you ever thought you would. You are worth something, and your life means something. And what we are meant to do, receive that truth, tie it around your neck, let love never leave you, and let it never leave as you treat yourself with love. So leave a comment down below. Is this something that is mind-blowing to you? Is this something you've heard before and maybe you just never practiced it? I want to know what it looks like in a week's time for you to come back here and tell us how this has impacted your life. How 1 Corinthians chapter 13, the definition of love, has impacted the way you see yourself. Well, we're here, we're living it up. So come on, subscribe and be a part. I'd love to hear from you all in the comment section. Can't wait to read them. Take care. Bye.